Hi, my name is Mark, and today we're going to talk about how to deal with unwanted thoughts that are evil. Um, a lot of people that have these types of thoughts imagine themselves killing people. There's one talking about child rape called POCD. They have unwanted thoughts about all kinds of stuff. And they might be even psychotic thoughts. Um, but the problem is they get terrified to no end from these thoughts and they don't know how to deal with it. So here's the first thing you need to know about unwanted thoughts about harming people. Everyone has them. Okay, you need to let that sink in for a minute. Uh, the thing is, most people can just brush them aside and say, oh, that's just ridiculous. But there are some lucky people like us who have an unwanted thought. We have to overanalyze everything. We pick apart. We pick it apart. We 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 go through it, say, "Oh my gosh, I had this evil thought. I must be evil, right?" And then, what if happens if I'm evil? What happens if I want to kill somebody? What happens to this and this and this and then, and then we get too sick to the point where we can't even do anything anymore because of our thoughts. And our thoughts have these powers over us. So, what are you gonna do when you have an unwanted thought and it makes you sick? This is the case with any unwanted thought. You're going to learn a new psychological response, and you're going to follow that every time until it becomes easy, and eventually you'll know what to do. If I have an unwanted thought in the past, oh my gosh, you don't even know. I would have questioned my entire being. It's like I imagine stabbing somebody, right? Like, oh my gosh, okay. So, am I a stabber? Am I, you know, what about, oh my gosh, oh God, I would just, and then I would get sick, and I would make myself emotionally sick, and I couldn't even look people in the eye anymore, and then I just get these complexes, and just stay there. So if you're feeling all this fear and terror and shame and doubt from unwanted thought, you need a new psychological response. So what's happening? Well, the first idea that I would like to propose to you is that you're trying to learn how to deal with the evils in this world. Okay, so we look around society, we see all kinds of stuff. We see people who molest children, or people who murder, people who rape, people who, claim to sell their soul, or all this stuff. And our response, how we deal with the outer world, is we are trying to make sense of it by putting ourselves as the victimizer. But that's the problem. So we're trying to make sense of why people murder. So we imagine ourselves murdering somebody to understand it. But then we turn it into this weird thing that we must be evil. You're trying to understand the world around you. So the first thing you want to do with any unwanted thought, whether it's harming other people or harming yourself, is realize you feel fear and shame and terror because the story is so scary. Not for any other reason. If you dream of a snake or a tsunami or something, and you're in an area where there's waves, you're going to get scared. Just like if you dream of hurting somebody, or you imagine hurting somebody or raping them, you're going to get scared. It's a scary thing. Okay? So realizing that the story is scary, and that's why you're feeling emotions. Then you need to separate yourself from that. Say, I'm not going to feel guilty, shame, terror, fear because of a thought. I'm not going to, there's no way. If I think of murdering somebody, okay, I'm not going to take on any of those emotions. I'm not going to own those, but I'm going to put them in the right place. Okay? So, if I did murder somebody, those are the emotions I would feel. And I definitely don't want to feel those. So I'm not going to murder somebody. Okay? Now, to people who don't have this type of thinking, it's like, well, no shit. Like, I have a thought. It's like a fart. It's gone. We're not like that. So we need a psychological response that benefits us and can help us calm down. And first thing is doing that. Now, we don't even have to figure out where they come from, you know, that I'm aware of. I didn't have to worry about where they came from in order to solve this type of thinking, but so we learned. Now we got to see how God sees us, and I talk about this in the other one. God knows we can't control our thoughts. He knows everyone can't control. Whoever, if you have unwanted thoughts, he probably looks at you like you have Tourette syndrome of the mind. That's how I view it. You wouldn't treat somebody with Tourette syndrome poorly because they're swearing out loud. You would calm them and say, "We understand you have this disorder. We love you. We get it." It's the same thing with the mind. We have all these unwanted thoughts. God's like, "I know you have this disorder. I care. I want to help you through it. Okay? If you do those things, you're going to be screwed over. But just because they're only thoughts, I'm with you." Okay? So we need to understand God's perspective on our unwanted thoughts. I mean, think about God in this perspective. If you don't believe me, when Jesus was dying on the cross, the person next to him was a well-known criminal. And he said, "Jesus, I believe in you." And Jesus said, "This night you'll be with me in paradise." And this person was a criminal, like an actual act. So if Jesus was able to say that to a criminal just for him believing in him, then think about thoughts. I think Jesus is okay. Really think about that. So we talk about we need a new way to respond. And the first one was like what I said. Tell yourself, I'm not accepting these emotions for something I haven't done. If I do it, I'll feel those emotions and accept it. You can also think about God and his love and how he's not going to condemn you for your thoughts, but he wants you to get through it. He's a champion of you. He wants you to get through. He loves you. So, and then you can also think about the consequences of the action. So instead of beating myself up and saying, or beating yourself up and saying, I'm evil, da da da. No. Instead of doing that in response, think about the consequences. Well, if I did that, it would be awful. Because that's what your brain is really trying to get at. It's trying to make sure that you understand why it's bad so you don't do it. But you just got it all messed up in your head. So you think about things like prison or and really go into depth on it. Spend some time thinking about that kind of thing. And that'd be your battleground later. Like, it's beneficial rather than beating yourself up for a thought. So, I don't know if I'm going to keep this video or not. But if you have any questions, write below. Okay, I throw pencils now.